In the heart of Seoul, nestled between glass skyscrapers and luxury boutiques, stood a powerful company, Han Group International. It was famous, respected, and feared, because at the top sat a man of few words and piercing eyes, CEO Han Jun-woo. Every morning, the building buzzed with stylish Korean women dressed in designer suits, heels clicking confidently, makeup flawless. Most weren't just working, they were hunting. You see, the CEO was single, wealthy, and unbelievably handsome. Women prayed for eye contact. A hello from him was like gold. And the dream? To become Mrs. Han. But there was one woman who never joined the chase, Amara, a 29-year-old black lady from Nigeria. She wasn't the loudest. She wasn't the most fashionable. But her work? Always spotless. Her reports? Always early. Her attitude? Always respectful. She had thick natural hair often tucked into a bun, wore modest blouses, and carried the quiet strength of someone who had seen both pain and beauty. While others wore fake smiles around the CEO, Amara barely looked his way. She focused on her tasks and offered gentle greetings to everyone, from the receptionist to the mail guy. But it wasn't her silence that made her special. It was her kindness. One Monday morning, something changed. An old Korean woman walked into the office, stooped, with graying hair tied in a messy bun, pushing a rusty cleaning cart. Her clothes looked thrifted, her shoes too old for comfort. She was the new cleaner. No one welcomed her. No one asked her name. In fact, within the first few hours, she was already mocked. "Look at that smell," one intern whispered. "Why is she walking so slow?" another giggled. By lunchtime, they were already placing tissues on chairs after she wiped them, as if she was dirty. The only person who didn't laugh? Amara. While others wrinkled their noses, Amara walked up to the woman with a soft smile and bowed lightly. "Annyeonghaseyo, Yoni." "Welcome," she said gently, handing the woman a fresh bottle of water. "It's hot today. Drink something, please." The old woman looked up, surprised. No one had spoken to her all morning. She took the water with shaking hands, blinking fast. "Thank you, dear," she whispered, touched. The women at the next table rolled their eyes. "She's always trying too hard," one sneered. "She just wants to look good," another said. "She's black. This kindness is probably her strategy to get close to the CEO." Amara heard them. But she stayed silent. That afternoon, something shocking happened. Amara found the cleaner struggling to lift a bucket of dirty mop water. Her arms were trembling. Without thinking, Amara dropped her documents, rushed over, and held the bucket. "You shouldn't lift this." "Let me help," she said. The cleaner gasped. No, it's okay." But Amara smiled. "Where I'm from, we carry water every day. This is easy. Don't worry." The old woman watched her with eyes full of something deep. Respect. Warmth. Maybe even, recognition. As Amara helped mop a corner of the office that wasn't even hers, two staff members walked past and took pictures secretly. "Let's see how the CEO feels when he sees her mopping the floor," they whispered, ready to twist the story against her. But what they didn't know, was that the CEO had already seen everything. From his tinted glass office on the top floor, Han Jun-woo had been watching Amara for weeks. Not because she was loud, but because she was quiet in a world full of noise. Not because she was perfect, but because she was real in a sea of performance. And now, watching her mop the floor with the cleaner, his interest doubled. He leaned forward, narrowing his eyes. "She doesn't know who that woman is," he whispered to himself. A smile touched the corner of his lips. Let's see what happens next. What Amara didn't know was that the new cleaner wasn't just any woman. She was Madame Seo, the CEO's mother, and she had entered the company undercover. And so far, only one person had passed the test. They called her a useless cleaner. But one phone call from her could shut down the entire building. The air in Han Group International grew colder with every passing day. The staff didn't like the new cleaner, and they made it clear. They left sticky gum on the floors she just mopped. They spilled coffee accidentally where she had just finished cleaning. And when she walked past, they pinched their noses like children. But Amara, sweet, quiet Amara, kept showing up by her side like a gentle shadow. Every morning, she brought an extra banana from home and handed it to the old woman. Every afternoon, when others ignored her, Amara asked how her knees were doing. And every evening, when the cleaner looked tired, Amara offered her tea from her own thermos. "You treat me like family," the old woman said one day, her voice trembling. Amara smiled. "Back home, we greet our elders with two hands. We don't wait for their status before we respect them." That sentence sat deep in the old woman's chest. What no one in the building knew was this. That useless old woman was Madame Seo Hae-rin, mother to Korea's most desired bachelor, and the silent hand behind the Han Group fortune. For years, she had watched her son rise, strong, elegant, powerful. But she worried for his heart. Too many women had paraded around him with lies. Too many fake smiles, expensive perfumes, and empty hearts. So she had told him one night. "The woman who treats the lowest with dignity will carry your name with honor. I need to see her with my own eyes." Her son, CEO Han Jun-woo, had smiled. And that's how Madame Seo disguised herself: loose pants, fake wrinkles, second-hand sneakers. She even let go of her personal driver and walked to work. She wanted to feel the ground. But she hadn't expected this much cruelty. Day after day, she was mocked. "She smells like kimchi that's been left outside. Did she bathe in mop water? She probably lives in a basement in the slums." One employee even tripped her while she carried cleaning tools. Amara was the only one who rushed forward. She helped the cleaner up, held her elbow gently, and brushed dust off her knees. "You should report her," Amara whispered, frowning. But the old woman shook her head. "No. You don't fight evil with more evil." Amara blinked, surprised. That sounded like something her late grandmother used to say. "Have you lived in Africa before?" she asked curiously. The cleaner laughed softly. "Not yet, but maybe I should." They both chuckled, sharing a rare bond no one else in the building could understand. One Friday evening, everything changed. The office was nearly empty. Rain poured hard outside, thunder echoing across Seoul. Amara was still finishing some reports. She liked staying late when the building was quiet. As she walked toward the ladies' washroom, she noticed something odd. The cleaner's cart was tipped over. She rushed forward, and saw the old woman collapsed on the wet floor, her breathing shallow, hands trembling. "How many?" Amara cried, kneeling. "Can you hear me?" The woman groaned. Amara didn't waste time. She called for security, but they didn't respond. So she ran back, grabbed her bag, and did something no one else would have done. She carried the old woman on her back, down 2 flights of stairs, through the rain, and into a taxi. "Nearest hospital, now," she shouted, her voice cracking. At the hospital, she paid for the deposit using her savings. The receptionist frowned at her ID card. "She's not your relative?" "No, but she's a human being," Amara said firmly. She sat by the woman's bedside all night, holding her hand. At 3:21 a.m., Madame Seo opened her eyes. "You should have left me," she whispered. Amara shook her head. "Never. My mother raised me to honor those who serve. You clean our mess every day. It's time someone cleaned your tears." The old woman stared at her, speechless. Her heart swelled with something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Back at Han Group the next day, the rumors flew fast. "Where's the cleaner? She finally quit. Good riddance. She was bad for company image." Only Amara sat quietly, still worried. Her phone battery was dead, and she hadn't heard back from the hospital. Then suddenly, the elevator dinged. And to everyone's horror, the cleaner walked in. But this time, she wasn't wearing dusty clothes. She wore a silk hanbok, her hair in an elegant bun. 2 bodyguards followed her. Behind her stood none other than CEO Han Junwoo himself. The staff gasped. What's happening? Someone whispered. Amara stood slowly, confused. Madame Sio's eyes swept the room like a queen inspecting her kingdom. And then, in a voice filled with power, she said. So this is how you treat your elders when no one is watching. Silence drowned the office. No one moved. No one blinked. There she stood, the cleaner who had been bullied for days, now wrapped in royal blue silk, her hair coiled into a graceful crown, bodyguards flanking her like she was some kind of president. The woman who had mopped floors was now standing beside CEO Han Junwoo himself. The staff shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting like flies. No one dared to speak first. They didn't know whether to bow, apologize, or run. Then she stepped forward. I've watched you, Madame Sio said, her voice calm but sharp like glass. I've watched you gossip. I've watched you lie. I've watched you step on others to make yourself look taller. One woman swallowed loudly. Another's face turned pale. But worse, Madame Sio continued, I watched how you treated someone you thought was beneath you. She pointed at a corner of the room. Right there, one of you tripped me. Right there, one of you poured coffee on the floor while I was cleaning. And right here, she gestured around, you laughed at me. A few tried to speak. Madam, we didn't know. She raised a hand. That's exactly the point. You didn't know. And so you thought it was okay. Everyone's eyes slowly turned to Amara, who stood frozen in place, confusion all over her face. Madame Sio stepped toward her gently. But this woman, the only black lady in this entire company, never once hesitated. She turned to the crowd again. She gave me water when I had nothing. She shared food without knowing if I could repay her. She gave me her back when I couldn't walk, and didn't ask for applause. Then she looked Amara in the eyes. You, dear, are the only one with a clean heart in this place. The room gasped. Amara's lips parted. You. You're really. Yes, Madame Sio nodded. I'm the mother of the CEO. I came here to find the heart that my son could trust. I found it in you. Chaos broke out once she left the room. That black girl tricked her, one staffer hissed. She faked kindness to gain favor, another snapped. She's been planning this, I told you from the beginning. By lunchtime, the whispers had turned into full-on conspiracy theories. Jealousy spilled like cheap wine. A senior assistant named Ji-yeon, who had always fancied herself the next Mrs. Han, led the charge. She needs to go, Ji-yeon told a small group in the pantry. She's already winning his mother's heart. If she gets any closer, we're done. Another girl, Minji, nodded. I say we expose her. Africans always come with tricks. They laughed, thinking it was clever, not knowing the building had security cameras in that very pantry. That same evening, Amara sat quietly in the break room. She had barely eaten all day. Her stomach ached, not from hunger, but from tension. She had never wanted attention. She wasn't here for romance or riches. She came to Korea to build a better life, to send money to her mother back home in Lagos, to grow slowly and honestly. Now everyone stared at her like she was a threat. Her phone vibrated. CEO Han, come to the rooftop. Now. Her hands trembled. Was she being fired? Promoted? Was it a trap? Still, she obeyed. The rooftop was quiet, the sun setting behind the mountains. A golden glow bathed the city, warm and dreamy. And there he stood, Han Junwoo. His hands in his pockets, his white shirt glowing under the orange sky. You came, he said. Yes, sir, Amara said softly, unsure. He chuckled. Don't call me sir. I'm the one who should be nervous. She blinked. Why? He looked at her seriously. Because for the first time in my life, my mother told me something about love, and I actually listened. Amara looked down. Her heart beat like a drum. She says you're real, he continued. That you treated her like a queen even when you thought she was poor. Amara shook her head. I was just being human. He stepped closer. Exactly. Downstairs, the staff were already working on a new plot. They forged documents, made fake emails from Amara's account, and even planned to accuse her of spying for a rival company. They'll deport her, Minji smirked. Then she'll know what happens to snakes. But again, they didn't know that someone was watching. Back on the rooftop, Han Junwoo stood directly in front of Amara. You've been hurt today, he said gently. They don't like you. Because you shine without trying. That scares them. Amara's eyes welled up with tears. He continued. But I don't care what they say. My mother has never liked anyone in my life, but today, she told me. He reached into his pocket and held up a small, folded handkerchief, the same one Amara had given Madame Seo during her hospital stay. She told me, if you marry a woman like this, you will never lack peace. The news spread faster than wildfire through the building. The black lady was seen on the rooftop, with the CEO. Alone. Whispers rose like smoke. Faces turned sour. Hearts burned with jealousy. Down in the main office, Jiyeon, Minji, and their crew sat in a huddle, grinning over a laptop screen. This fake email we created? Jiyeon whispered. It looks like she leaked confidential files to a rival tech firm in Kenya. Minji leaned in, eyes gleaming. By the time Madame Seo finds out, even her precious Amara won't be spared. They had created everything, fake chats, fake bank statements, even a fake phone call recording. They were ready to press send. But what they didn't know, was that the building's entire IT department had been placed on high alert by CEO Han Junwoo himself. Because earlier that morning, after their moment on the rooftop, he had turned to Amara and asked. Do you trust me? And she had said. I've got nothing left but my name. If you protect that, I trust you. That was all he needed to hear. By 10 a.m. the next morning, a surprise company-wide meeting was announced. Every employee was required to be present, including the ones who had been too busy to look at the cleaner last week. The conference hall buzzed with tension. Jiyeon and Minji were dressed like angels, white blazers, soft smiles. Amara walked in last, alone. She wore a simple navy blue dress, her braids pulled back neatly, no makeup, just elegance and quiet strength. Whispers flew like knives. Why is she here? She'll finally be exposed. She's going back to Africa today. Then the door opened, and Madame Seo walked in, regal as ever, followed by CEO Han. He walked straight to the stage, grabbed the mic, and looked around the silent room. Before we begin, there's something I must reveal, he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. In the past few days, we received an anonymous tip that a staff member was committing corporate espionage. The crowd leaned forward. We launched a silent investigation with our cybersecurity team and found. He paused. Everyone held their breath. That someone within this company fabricated evidence to frame an innocent employee. Gasps. Heads turned. Han turned to the projector screen. Let's roll the footage. The lights dimmed. Surveillance video played on the big screen. Jiyeon and Minji huddled over a laptop, whispering about their plan, laughing about how the black girl won't see it coming. Another clip showed them in the pantry mocking Amara. Another showed them sneaking into the HR office late at night. Finally, a security recording captured Jiyeon saying, if she's deported, we'll finally have peace. Korean companies aren't for people like her anyway. The room went dead silent. Even the AC seemed to stop breathing. Han Junwoo stepped back up. Those are not just racist remarks. Their criminal acts. Gasps turned into murmurs. He pointed to the guards. Take them out of my company. Permanently. Jiyeon screamed. Minji tried to beg. But no one listened. The two were escorted out, humiliated. No one dared look them in the eyes. Some co-workers even clapped. Then the CEO turned to Amara, who still stood at the back. Come forward, he said softly. She hesitated. But Madame CEO nodded at her, eyes shining with pride. Amara walked slowly to the stage. Her heart thundered in her chest. Han looked at her in front of everyone and said, "This woman was the only one in this company who treated my mother like a human being. Not because of status. Not because of opportunity. But because that's who she is." He turned to his staff. You all wore expensive suits but carried cheap hearts. She came from another country, yet taught you what Korean respect truly means. The room hung on every word. Then Han turned back to Amara. I don't care what the world says. You've already passed every test. And now, I only have one question. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Gasps exploded across the room. Even Madame CEO's eyes widened. Han knelt, right there on the stage, in front of the whole company. Amara, would you allow this Korean billionaire CEO to be your husband? Her lips trembled. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She had been called poor, black, irrelevant, a foreigner. Now, the man every woman in the building chased, was kneeling before her. She whispered, yes. The room erupted, half in cheers, half in stunned silence. The wedding was private but beautiful. Madame CEO personally dressed Amara in a modern hanbok made with Ankara fabric, blending both cultures. Guests from Africa and Korea cried together as the two said, I do. Amara didn't just become a wife. She became a symbol. A black woman who entered a powerful Korean company quietly. And left as the heart behind the empire.